Hi everybody, welcome to In the Center of the Circle. This is episode number 14. And this undoubtedly will be the funniest, most fun episode yet. My guest today is David Gouthro, and he's already up to no good. And I'm very happy about that. Before we get going, I just want to share a little bit of my partner Jana's song, All the Good, because this show is about celebrating the innate goodness in all of us. Please sing along. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. I cannot do, go for it. I can good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. Different melody. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good I can do. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good I can do. First melody. I cannot do.
You're on your own. Take it away.
All the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. But the world needs all the good that I can do. But the world needs all the good that I can do. Unbelievable.
If it arrived in anything close to harmony, it's totally a miracle.
It's wonderful. So as I was saying, my guest today is the lovely and talented Mr. David Gouthro. Okay, so
The lovely, perhaps, talented
let's-
to be determined.
let's tell people about the nose flute. Everyone's wondering what it is. What's that about? Come
Well,
on.
Nathan, it's a musical instrument,
Yes, I know.
and I use it as a metaphor when I'm working with people that tend to have ego get in the way of coming up with new ideas and tough conversations. And I can usually get people to agree with the statement that they'll learn or they'll grow faster if they're willing to make a mistake, but then no one ever does it. They'll say, yes, yes, intellectually, but their heart doesn't let them. So the nose flute, I've changed the phrase from you'll grow faster if you're willing to make a mistake to you'll grow faster if you're willing to blow it, unless you work for a gas utility, that has a totally different meaning. It serves as a metaphor, and then I just give one to folks and tell them there's three things they have to be able to do to play the nose flute. First is to have to let go of any need to look good, and that's one of the biggest things that gets in the way of us learning.
Yep.
They have to be able to breathe out through the nose, which most people can do. If they're congested, they have to be cautious, and then keep their mouth open at the same time without letting the air go out like this.
Right.
So I ask them to pay attention to what goes through the mind. You know, some people say, oh, my kids will love this, which is like, okay, and they're going to help you grow, will they? Or I'll try this when I get home. Doesn't help if we're in a group setting. So just the resistance that they have to doing something that they're not going to be great at, which a lot of adults feel that they should be if they're reasonably competent, those resistances get in the way of them being willing to grow personally, and if it's in an organization, for the organization to grow. So it's great. Use thousands of these. Helped to launch the Swedish Nose Flute Orchestra in Stockholm, Sweden, which is a whole other story that would take up all our time together. Been on Basic Black on CBC with the Nose Flute contest. Yeah.
Nice.
Group that won, we sent nose flutes across the country. People taped them, sent them in, and I came back for the final judging. And the group that won, excuse me, was a group called the Society for Nasal Olfactory Theatre from Victoria. The acronym was SNOT. They actually captured the spirit of the nose flute.
That's great. Well, I'm sorry that you didn't win.
When I judged them.
Oh,
It
did?
wasn't- Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was the judge.
Ah, wow.
As the founder of the Vancouver Nose Flute Ensemble, it was my right, my role, my duty to do that.
Indeed.
Yeah, there's no such organization. Don't look for it on the website. Actually do. www.vancouvernoseflute.com or on YouTube, Nose Flute Man.
Are you nose flute man?
Nose Flute Man.
Wow.
I can't tell you how much money that hasn't made me.
righty then. Well, let me just say a little bit about you. Send some praise and appreciation your way. I know David from the Vancouver chapter of the Canadian Association of Professional Speakers. Secondly, but firstly, I met you at CSL Vancouver, which is one of the New Thought communities in Vancouver.
What's that, CSL?
Yeah. CSL Vancouver, Center for Spiritual Living Vancouver.
Really?
That's where I first met you.
Wow.
And then sometime after that, I walked into my first CAPS meeting thinking,
No.
And you met me.
I saw you played at the World Kindness Concert for many years.
Okay.
That's when I first saw you.
You saw me.
But
you and I meeting.
Okay, so one of these.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it was like at first sight.
It was like at first sight. In fact, I very clearly remember the day that I met you at that CAPS meeting because I thought this was a really good sign that several people that I knew in a completely different universe were part of the speaking world. I thought, this bodes well.
Okay, I forgot about that. That's cool.
Yeah. So, before speaking, the question I like to ask everybody is, the guy that I know and love, the guy with this fantastic sense of humor and props, which you haven't seen yet, wait till you see the props. What event or events kind of led you to being the guy that you are today, serving in the way that you do? And we'll get into that, certainly. But
I don't. I guess if I look way back when I first started, I really enjoy people. I like having conversations. I have intense curiosity about people and what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't volunteer for very many things, but I say yes to most things when I'm asked. And so I remember it was at university, and I ran into some friends in the parking lot in a residence I was staying in. And one of them looked a little bit upset because they were a part of something called FAS, which is a show that was put on every year by the faculty, administration staff, and students at the University of Waterloo.
Mm-hmm.
And they had just lost their producer, and it was partway into their production run. So I said, I don't know anything about it, be happy to help out. So the next thing I knew, I was the producer of a show that involved faculty, administration, staff, and students, total number of 140 people.
Wow.
And the largest budget was the party budget. So I had an absolute blast, and I think that's when, and I'd never performed in any way before. And so as well as producing, I had a small part, but I just loved it. So looking back, that was probably the start, but also being in a variety of false start careers. Hmm. So life insurance, real estate, training and development. I worked at Apple for 6 years and really enjoyed doing things. Everything was brand new back then. Mm-hmm. So I think it's going from one thing to another where things are new that I sort of developed my keenness for learning and for volunteering and really helping out. Hmm. Is that a good enough? I could make something else up. None of that's true, by the way, but no, that is true.
That's fantastic. Let's play some more music. I was just saying to David that I wanted to feature him more on the nose flute today. So there's a song of mine that I'd like to play because it's a song of gratitude, and it's playful. And whenever anyone is coming on the show, I think a little bit beforehand about songs that kind of really reflect the energy of that person. And I thought of this song, and I thought of you, and I just thought we could have some fun with it. So
this isn't Dies Irae or something like that, is it?
What's that?
A funeral dirge?
No. Heavens no.
So the reason that I play the nose flute is because my wife sings in a choir. My daughter sings constantly. She's 15, musical theater, all that sort of stuff. And I'm constantly told that I can't sing. So I have gravitated to the nose flute.
Yeah, I'm sorry that you've been told that.
It's
because I as Jen is the same way. We both very much believe that everybody can sing, and the reason they can't is because they were told they can't.
See, I think everyone can sing, and I also believe there's some people who shouldn't.
Okay, well, we could spend a whole lot of time talking about all those things, so let's just save that for another day, too.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so this is called More Than Enough, and it's going to feature my friend David Gouthro at some point on nose flute.
Okay.
Playing whatever you'd like.
Okay.
All right.
Could it be a totally different song?
Of course.
Okay.
Absolutely. A wise soul from another day laid bare the simple truth that all we need to be content is this: someone to love, something to do, and something to hope for. With these three goals, your aim, life could be bliss. But human nature's funny, you live, learn, and forget.
You'll let me know when the chorus comes, right?
I will.
Okay.
May this song help remind me when I'm tense and upset. Food for my belly, a comfy bed, a gal who loves me, enough said. It's not much, but it's more than enough. My trusty 8-string, a pad and pen, some inspiration, amen.
I'm doing mime no
It's
sleep.
not much, but it's more than enough. Oh, I know that some folks say you can't be happy till you have a pile of gold. But I have found you can't be bound by everything that you're told. A heart for loving, a soul to feel, a voice to sing about what's real.
I'm trying to throw you off here.
But it's more than enough. Take it, David. Some folks say you can't be happy till you have a pile of gold. But I have found you can't be bound by everything that you're told. Got time to ponder all I possess, all things considered. I'm blessed. It's not much, but it's more than enough. Yeah, it's not much, but it's more than enough. David Gouthro.
First time for everything, yes.
Indeed. David Gouthro with me on In the Center of the Circle, a show where we celebrate the innate goodness in everyone. And David was just demonstrating his finesse on the nose flute. Thank you, sir.
I prefer to call it finesse, because there's but a little close to the truth. It was my pleasure indeed to accompany you. I like to make other people look good.
Okay, so tell people about who you are, what brings you joy, how you serve in the world. What are all these things you brought with you today?
Well, I do like using metaphors to get people to think about things differently, like the nose flute. And one of my business cards actually has the title Organizational Laxative. But it's because it's about getting things moving. And one of the things, I mean, some people are good at getting things started, some people are good in the middle, and some things are good at closing things off. And what I like to do is hold out possibility and get some things started. So one way, by way of a metaphor, is this going to show up? Yes, is just to get things started. Oh my goodness. And hopefully if they've been started well, they carry on through and come to a natural conclusion. Right? So that's about processes or systems or things like that. Mostly I work in organizations with people that tend to be a little bit, I think, too serious. When you're trying to do things new and trying to be creative, I've never found any case to be made that would be more creative if you're more serious about being creative. So I think one of the things that I enjoy doing is being playful, and I always have. And I used to not show that in my work. And then I thought, you know what, I'm not getting any younger, and I have a young daughter. Well, she's 15 now. And if I can't be playful now, when can I be playful? And I've actually found that it ends up being a pretty key differentiator. Because if people can get good results at the end of the day, which is absolutely important, but not feel beat up at the end of the day because they've had a playful approach to coming up with something valuable, then I think everybody wins. So that's the approach that I like to take.
Wonderful.
The other metaphor, because it would be a shame running out of time before I get to use it, is there's a cultural anthropologist by the name of Ashley Montague, who his observation was that at some point we decide that we know everything we need to know, so we can let this represent our knowledge. And that could be after so many degrees, playing so many sticks, doing so much of whatever. And at that point, once we decide we know everything we need to know, we build a shell around this pitiful store of knowledge, in his words, that protects or defends what's inside at the time that the shell forms, but keeps new ideas from coming in. And he called that condition psychosclerosis. So, you know, we're so invested in our knowledge that if people feel that they have to throw that out in order to learn and do things differently, that's too much of an investment. They're not willing to do that. So this is a Hoberman sphere that I like to use as a metaphor, that the knowledge doesn't have to be a barrier. It can be a framework for new ideas to come within. So, I mean, for many people when I use this is the highlight of the event. They don't care what I said. And this, I actually can't open this fully here, but you know, you could put yourself right inside it. You could use it as kind of a helmet. It's quite uncomfortable actually, but it does serve as a great metaphor. And because under stress, what we tend to do, like you've got a gig and they just ask you to play another set and you weren't ready for it, you revert back to maybe the first set that you did, or the normal way of doing things. So I like making things visual because I think people remember things when it's visual, but also to have fun. So I'll quite often use music. And in fact, and I think Jana said this when I checked with her one time, that she doesn't mind people using her music as long as they're not charging to hear it. So she has a wonderful song, the first one I heard her do, called If I Were Brave. And so what I'll do, especially if I'm talking in a context of leadership around courage, I'll play Jana's song in the background, If I Were Brave, and ask people to think about, based on what we've talked about or what they now know, what would they do differently if they thought of themselves as being brave? And write that down on a card and keep it with them. And it's amazing what people come up with, because that's sort of the potential they can live into. And I've had people come back years later and say, I still got that card that made such a difference to me. So I could have just said, what would you do if you were brave? But to have the music that hits people at a different level and have them think about that works really, really well. So I like trying to find new ways to get people to engage and think about things and take responsibility for where they're going and what they're doing in their lives.
Beautiful. And I just wanted to say for those watching that if you would like to hear Jana's song, If I Were Brave, it's easy to find on YouTube. And we did an episode together, I think it's episode number 4 or 5 with Jana, and she does If I Were Brave. So just go to my YouTube, just put in Nathan Aswell, Jana Stanfield, and chances are the link will come up. I'll make it even easier. I'll put the link at the end of this video.
And not to pitch Jana, but if I was to, I actually bought a box, like a whole box of the singles of If I Were Brave. And I remember the first time, I know this is supposed to be about you and me, but not about Jana, but the first time that I heard that song, my daughter was maybe 6 years old. And so it was my first time using iMovie. And so I put a bunch of pictures of my daughter from when she was just a little beanie baby up until about she was 6 or 7, and put it to the music of If I Were Brave. And it was about 2 o'clock in the morning. I got so excited about this. My wife wasn't quite as excited at 2 o'clock as I was. But I sent a copy down to Jana, and then the first time I met her in person was in an NSA movie. It feels like it was in a movie now. At an NSA conference, I can't remember where. And she remembered that song. And so she invited me to a concert that she was having in a room with Tim Bays and
Mike Redman?
Yes. Like, it was absolutely magical. And it was, I had never intended to do that, but I was so, proud of the song and putting this video together and how meaningful that was. So, sometimes you just start stuff and you never know where it's going to end up.
Absolutely.
And then seeing you and Jana together, it's all been great.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, and I know that I've been with you a few times when I've heard you sharing the story and the continuing impact of the song on you with her, and I know, as any songwriter would, I know it just lights Jana up to hear that story. So.
The other one of hers I like is Nothing You Can Do About It Now.
Yep.
Which is pretty funny.
Yep. Perfect song for you.
Yep.
So something that we haven't really talked about. So you are in the speaking world, but I know that you don't consider yourself a speaker. You think of yourself much more as a facilitator, right? That's the word that you originate with.
Yeah. I mean, I speak. I kind of fell into it from working as a trainer for a company called Wilson Learning many years ago. But and what I tell some of my colleagues is that every person, whenever you're in front of an audience, you have to think of yourself as a change agent. If something isn't changing as a result of you being there, why are you there? Right. So if you're a performer, it could be about changing a person's attitude or a sense of possibility or joy or things like that. Yeah. As a speaker, I want them to be thinking, not just thinking about something differently, but actually doing something differently. So most of my work is facilitation. So working with groups where it's their content, but it could be a group of 5 people or it could be a group of 500 or 600 people. But really thinking through how to use that time for them to get something that's going to be useful to them. That's not just about me talking. Like I hate using the word when people say, David, he's an expert. Like I have some expertise, you have some expertise, but there's something about the word expert that sets you up as something I don't feel is legitimate, and then you're then a target. Like, how come you're an expert? Yeah, can you do this on the nose flute? Like I have some expertise on the nose flute. I never say I'm an expert in the nose flute. So, yeah. So, but I like to. I love being in front of groups. I love emceeing and creating an environment where people are comfortable and where they can learn. So,
beautiful. Thank you. Well, speaking of nose flute, I think it's high time we had some more. And and you played something before we started the show, which I loved, and I really think now's the time.
So this is the song that comes to mind when I think of the potential of retiring before I'm 90. And I've customized my nose flute. This is actually from South Africa, but I drilled some holes to keep this my dress nose flute.
All right.
I have other colors, but it would clash.
Indeed.
And I drilled a hole on the side so I can do vibrato.
Yes.
So this is the song that comes to mind when I think about the possibility of retiring 5 years earlier than it looks like I'm going to. Sometimes, to get the high notes, you need someone to tug your underwear. So if I go like that, that's your cue, okay?
No, sir.
Okay. Is this being recorded? Okay.
My hands are staying up here and over here.
Okay, you're under arrest. All right, here we go. I could go on, but I think you get the idea. It's that's been formed absolutely nowhere before.
Well,
it's my first concert. I thank you.
I commend you on your sense of theatrics and dynamics.
And being in tune, not really critical or possible, and knows. You might have noticed my daughter, who can measure something that's off by an eighth of a tone, cringes if it's off a little bit. So I'm glad you withheld that. Obviously, self-control you've developed as a professional.
No, it's your delivery. It's just your delivery just surpasses all. It's great. It's well worth it.
I always wanted to be a postal worker, but said your delivery isn't good enough, so I moved to the nose flute.
So what's next? What's coming?
What's coming? Well, I guess a couple of things. One of the things that I need to do, I've always pretty much looked at my work as a hobby. I've never been motivated by money. I think there's got to be enough. But I wouldn't do something I didn't think was right just for the money. There's some things that I wouldn't do. What I need to do is find a way that I can make some passive income. So, at some point, I enjoy travel, but I don't want to be traveling. And at the moment, my income, my potential has kind of capped my ability to be in front of people. And it's a very competitive market. So I probably wouldn't start a podcast using the nose flute, but I think thinking about what I really enjoy doing is figuring out how to get people engaged and how to fully engage, mind, body, soul, this sort of thing. So if there are some ways to do that could be of assistance to organizations, not-for-profits, whatever, I'd love to find a way to do that. So using more social media, I post a lot of pictures. Actually, this is one I was doing some work for. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say it, an arena. But so this is a picture of me. Now, many of my speaking colleagues, for some absolutely bizarre, I think possibly stupid reasons, take selfies of themselves in a room where there's no one there and say, I'm going to be speaking in this room soon. Like, who knows? So this is, as you can see, like, I want to find someone else but speaking to a group potentially this big. But it's, what do I need to do? I'd like to think about what I can do that would be of interest to enough people to fill a stadium. And to me, it's not about the people, it's about adding the value. I used to think when I was a kid, if there was a spaceship leaving Earth and it could only take so many people, what would I need to do that was of enough value to actually get me a spot in that spaceship? So I guess it's about service, it's about doing something meaningful, it's about contribution. So all kinds of people on social media were responding to this picture, like get some ice. or whatever it might happen to be, or is this before or after? All kinds of really smart remarks. I have very many clever friends out there. None of them are actually posting on this picture, but a lot of other people came out of the woodwork. So I've been really thinking about, and I've always thought about how can I better leverage my talents. Sometimes it feels like, and I find this with a lot of people, they're just on cruise and they're doing okay, but it's not making as big a difference as could be made. Not that everyone has to, but I think if you have the sense of you could, what gets in the way of you actually doing that? So I'm trying to figure that out. So over the summer, I'm hoping to take some time to do that.
Okay. And thank you for your honesty about that. And people who would like to reach you, who will be inspired by everything they've seen today, the best way to reach you is on your LinkedIn page?
Well, or Nathan's house here, in White Rock. I could be reached here if I get invited out. Yeah, the best thing is LinkedIn. I do have a website, but it's pretty ancient. I've got a couple of ones that are set up waiting to go, but my LinkedIn site, or on www.canadianspeakers.org. Okay. And I have a profile on there with folks like yourself, perhaps. Okay, and as is my custom, when I post this video on YouTube, we'll put links to David. Okay. And so the two, your LinkedIn site, the Canadian Speaker site, we'll also put a link to Janice. I just had a visual flash. Yes. Of like one of those cats with the links. I'm going to post a links on your. I have to get one. That would be awesome. I'm going to start posting links on my emails. Maybe a cougar now and again. Who knows? Well, believe it or not, that's all the time we have. It's been an hour and a half getting out of here, and it's over. Jeez. Boy, do I owe you big time? Gas, if nothing else. Yes, if nothing else. So we've been enjoying the wisdom, the antics, the insight of David Gouthro, and my name is Nathan Aswell. This is In the Center of the Circle, where we celebrate everyone's innate goodness, and I have always enjoyed David's playfulness and insight, and I knew you'd be a perfect person to come in. Thanks for having me. It was fun. Well, I'm honored to have you here. So let's just take people out with a little inspiration. We'll just do a little piece of a little bit of Karen Drucker's song "Loving Kindness." May I be filled with loving kindness, may I be well, may I be peaceful and at ease, and may I be happy. Once again. May I be filled with loving kindness, may I be well, may I be peaceful and at ease, and may I be happy. I think we need
goes for others. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. And may you be happy. Now let's sing we. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. And may we be happy.
It's my happy face.
Thank you very much for watching, everybody. You've been watching In the Center of the Circle. My name is Nathan Aswell. My esteemed colleague and guest today has been David Gouthro. As I said, I will put a bunch of links so you can connect with David, should you so choose. And I think you should choose. So thank you for being with us. Love and blessings. Namaste.